So therefore, a transfer of the neo-baroque concept from Cuba to Martinique, or from the hispanophone Caribbean to the francophone, seems possible. The Cuban authors Alejo Carpentier, José Lezama Lima, and Severo Saduy create, as we all know, a neo-baroque style which is founded on theories of mestizaje, on a neo-baroque style as a revolutionary poetics, and on neo-baroque as poetic discourse as an exceso de artificio or redundancia barroca. So I think, I don't know, there I will now repeat some aspects we have heard before, but it was just quickly. And in general, so I don't want to go more deeper in the subject. To Carpentier, for example, America has always been Baroque with its great nature and with its diverse cultures and identities, and being Baroque to being Creole to Carpentier means being Baroque. He presumes mestizaje of men, but also of nature, of this tropical diversity. Therefore, he uses a style, I think, which could be the tropical neo-baroque. So we can find lots of nature motifs in his novels. To Lezama Lima and Saduy, Baroque bears revolutionary forces. It's poetics of revolution, which is against the colonizers' culture and language. And thus, their poetics has new elements and poetic standards which are different to the culture and the literature of the colonizer, in most cases, of the Europeans. So this poetic is supposed to stress the culture of the oppressed. And the neo-baroque is such an uncommon poetics and discourse. It is against literary standards. In this way, it is this poetics of revolution, or as would say José Lezama Lima, of contraconquista. We will see that Glissant's discourse is similar to this. And furthermore, Lezama Lima and Saduy design their prose like does Glissant as well. Their inspirations are, for example, antique and Baroque authors who emphasize the art of the language as well. However, Saduy and Lezama Lima used those traditional authors and poetics to create new forms and new poetics. Saduy, for example, concentrates on the linguistic sign, on the word itself. He focuses on the art of language, which leads to this exceso de artificio. This exceso is a play with the language, and Saduy, he plays with languages, he hides meanings. For example, you will know this in anagrams or in lots of metaphors. And in this Baroque sense, hiding means masking. So Saduy's work can be considered as a kind of textual masquerade. And therefore his discourse is really intransparent and dense. So with all this hiding, it becomes intransparent and dense. Furthermore, he uses unusual repetitions, accumulations, exaggerations, and all those elements lead to this redundancia barroca, this Baroque redundancy, which isn't homogeneous. It is deflected and chaotic, what you can see with the collages and superpositions of Saduy's discourse. Like the Cuban authors describe America as Baroque, Glissant describes the world as a Baroque universe and the Creole languages as expressions, as Baroque expressions of language. And as he creates, so in this way, a discourse which is near to the Cuban neo-Baroque and opposed to contemporary European traditions or poetics, but however, he includes European poetics. So it is opposed, but he uses European poetic elements. And with his neo-Baroque style, he gives the Caribbean people their voice, shows their heterogeneous history and identity. And this can be observed in his novel Omelette from 2003. This novel owes its title to an Australian friend of Glissant, Beverly Omelette. He is a literature professor in Australia, and her sister married a rebel who was involved in the revolution in Grenada in 1983. So the title can be considered as a link between the world today and the world of Grenada in 1983. On this novel, I will hopefully give you some evidence for his neo-baroque style, but first I'd like to introduce you on the plot, and therefore I prepared a little map of the Caribbean. Here you can see the three important places where deals Ormerod's plot. We have Martinique, St. Lucia, and Grenada. So mainly the plots take place on those three islands. There are three important narrative levels in Ormerod. They are embedded in a foreword and an annex. The first level is about Flore Gaillard from St. Lucia in 1793. Flore is a slave who revolts against her master and then became the leader of a gang of bandits. In this gang of bandits, they fight against the English plantation owners. So this is the point. They're always hiding in the forests of St. Lucia. The second narrative level or historical background deals with the water revolution in Grenada in 1983, I mentioned before, with Beverly's sister. And there, a Marxist pro-Cuban group provocates a coup d'etat, what led arrived the US troops to this little island. So that's for the two historical backgrounds. They are related to a couple of stories and histories of other Caribbean protagonists of the 20th and 21st century. So we have Nestor Sourtfontaine, who is a social security employee from Martinique and lives at the end of the 1990s. And we have the female protagonist. I didn't mention her in this sheet. The female protagonist Édouard, who becomes Nestor's lover, but knows her past better than does Nestor. So they both are searching for their roots, but Nestor doesn't know anything about his roots. The third really important person is Orestille. Orestille lives in the 1940s and is a young boy who dreams of Flore battling in 1793. So Orestille can be considered as a link between the Caribbean in the 18th century and the world in the 20th century. The main plot is really Baroque, structured like a patchwork. And even if the table of contents indicates three independent chapters, so three probably narrative levels, they're not independent and completed. They're in interaction. They are superposed and juxtaposed and interrupted by parentheses.